Glee! The show created by Ryan Murphy first premiered back in 2009 and ran for a whopping 6 seasons before getting the chop from Fox in 2015. Now for a show called Glee, there was tons of drama on the screen, but almost just as much, if not more, off the screen. I'm Adam Andrews with Where Are They Now, and this is the top 10 Glee stars who hated the show. In at number 10 is Jenna Ushkowitz. On a March 2020 episode of the podcast Dating Straight, Jenna Ushkowitz, who played Tina on the show, appeared alongside another cast member who we will talk about momentarily. Specifically, the pair were asked, quote, "What was the moment you decided to hate Glee?" Now obviously that question alone kind of proves the point of this video, but as for their answers, they were both pretty straight up about what their breaking points on the show were. For Ushkowitz, singing South Korean pop star Psy's song Gangnam Style, which everyone remembers blew up in 2012 and 2013, that was seemingly her breaking point. Though she doesn't actually directly address it, she gives a look where every single fiber of her being seems to disdain that memory with like every fiber. And then she nods to the host and calls it problematic. When the host of the podcast made the comment that the show, and season 5 specifically, was pretty tone deaf, Jenna responds, "Oh, yeah. Absolutely." And just to add on to that, Jenna also told Tyler Oakley in a May 2019 YouTube video titled "Quizzing Glee Cast on Messy Plotlines" that there were lots of messy storylines across the show's 6 seasons. Coming in at number 9 is Kevin McHale. Jenna was not alone on that podcast or the YouTube appearance. Like I said, another cast member, who I shall now reveal as Kevin McHale, who starred on the show as Artie, joined her for both appearances. During the same podcast and the question about what point in the show made them hate Glee, Kevin started off with, quote, "I never hated it. Some people did. I was the last one to break." As for what caused this break for Kevin, he went on to say that it was the cast performance of the briefly and unexpectedly popular parody song "What Does the Fox Say" by Norwegian comedy duo Ylvis. Now, disclaimer, I had not actually watched the show, but I did watch a few performances, and that one, I couldn't even sit through the full thing. It's extremely understandable that he was pretty over it after that one. Kevin followed that though by straight out saying that season 5 of the show was rough. And after talking about Jen's performance of Gangnam Style and the show's tone-deaf nature, Kevin said, quote, "If you watch it now, you will be shocked." But he was also there for the YouTube quiz, quizzing Glee cast on messy plotlines. For that, McHale dished out about the weirdest plots, but he doubled down on his disdain for the weirdness that was The Fox number. He said that not only was it easily one of their least favorite songs to sing, but the performance itself was far more embarrassing than actually entertaining. McHale also said in that same video that he cannot believe the show got away with several scenes, specifically targeting a musical number he performed with Dianna Agron. After Agron's character Quinn got into a car accident, the two students sang an Elton John hit together. He said, quote, "How crazy was that? Both in wheelchairs. Inappropriate. The things we got away with." And at number 8 is Ryan Murphy himself. Now I highly doubt the show's creator Ryan Murphy had any kind of true hate for the show that he was the father of, but even he did have a few words about things he did not like about his own show, including some of the musical numbers that he regretted putting on, and even some words about the drama that happened with Glee itself. During a February 2017 interview on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Murphy gave his thoughts on what he thought was the show's worst performance. At the time, a caller asked the creator which song he regrets the most, to which Murphy very quickly replied, "I am mortified that we did Gangnam Style by Psy. I will say, like, not our finest moment." Honestly, I like Ryan Murphy and the other shows he has put out, so it does give me a bit of relief knowing that he recognizes the problem with that song being done. I can only assume that feeling is double for making Jenna Ushkowitz the lead singer on that one. As for addressing the Glee drama, in an October 2015 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Murphy did say, quote, "To this day, I'm devastated by everything that happened with that show." And at number 7 is Jayma Mays. Jayma Mays isn't necessarily in the vocally hating the show category, but there is an obvious shady disdain going on here. In October 2013, Jayma, who played Emma, told the UK Metro the real reason why her character left the show early. She said, quote, "It wasn't my choice. The creators decided to do it. We knew it was coming last year. Some other characters will also be leaving this season. It's very sad to be going. It's about getting new blood into the show. I really enjoyed playing Emma. I don't don't know how I'm written out yet. She never spoke on it since, but we gotta imagine being written out of a show and not really being given a reason as to why or even how has got to leave a bit of a sting and a sour taste in the mouth. And at number 6 is Dianna Agron. Speaking of leaving the show, Dianna Agron, who played Quinn Fabray, reportedly wanted out of the show. US Weekly was told from some insider sources that Agron, who was 26 at the time, negotiated an early exit from the musical comedy's 4th season. The source said, quote, Dianna was unhappy and had been trying to get off the show for a while. She and producers came to an agreement where they let her go. That's what she wanted. Now that was followed by a statement from one of the show's reps that stated, quote, this is patently false. It seemed clear at the time that she was a little sour about the whole thing, but it may have had something to do with the actress losing out on other aspects of her acting career, like potential feature films, due to having to focus time on Glee. And at number 5 is Samantha Ware. Welcome one and all to what I would like to dub the Lea Michele portion of the video. For those who don't know what that means, Lea Michele was the closest thing to a lead on Glee, and she has become pretty well known recently for being an absolute nightmare to work with, as well as being outed as a racist. This came about after a infamously viral tweet from Lea went out where she expressed her feelings about the passing of George Floyd. Now in response to that tweet, Samantha Ware, who appeared as Jane Hayward on Glee in 2015, posted her own tweet aimed at Lea that read, in all caps, quote, LMAO, remember when you made my first television gig a living hell? Cause I'll never forget. I believe you told everyone that if you had the opportunity, you would in my wig. Amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood. This was followed by a tweet from Dabier Snell, who appeared in 2014, saying, girl, you wouldn't let me sit at the table with the other cast members cause I didn't belong there. Now in at number 4 is Heather Morris. Sticking on the Lea Michele train here, another co-star who had some words to say regarding the situation, Heather Morris, who played Brittany S. Pierce, revealed that working with Lea was tough, thus creating quite a toxic environment for her and the entire cast. In a statement Heather made, she wrote, let me be very clear. Hate is a disease in America that we are trying to cure, so I would never wish for hate to be spread on anyone else. With that said, was she unpleasant to work with? Very much so. For Lea to treat others with the disrespect that she did for so long as she did, I believe she should be called out. And yes, it's also on us because we allowed it to go on for so long without speaking out, which is something else we're learning along with the rest of society. Yikes. But outside of Lea Michele related complaints, Heather Morris also referred to her character's one-liners as dumb, as if she was embarrassed by the way her character was portrayed. She recalled to Vulture in 2010 the moment she realized her character of Brittany would have an expanded role on the show, saying, quote, I was in a scene with Mark Salling and Jane Lynch. This scene in Sue's office when she's trying to recruit us to be in her own rival Glee club, when she was ranting on about how I was this Dutch girl from the red light district, and he was this Jewish guy. Ryan Murphy was watching and I heard this hysterical laughing. He walks in like, Heather Morris, you looked so confused and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was literally from that moment on, it just kept getting worse and worse, the dumb things I was saying. Number 3, Amber Riley. Amber Riley has multiple instances where she, at the very least, alluded to the fact that Lea Michele was not exactly the greatest. In an Instagram live interview, Riley kept it diplomatic toward her former co-star, saying she wasn't going to say that Lea Michele is racist. However, she said the Glee set was not the most comfortable environment to work in, and she voiced that she was glad Ware spoke out, saying, I am proud of her not being fearful for speaking her truth. Her feeling was, I am not going to allow you to jump on what is happening now when you didn't treat me right, referring to Michele's Black Lives Matter tweet that spurred Ware's allegations in the first place. Now, while Riley said that was the first and last time she was going to talk about the situation, she did do a Showtime interview with Zoe last month on diversity and racism, and in that interview, she is asked, you said that one of your famous co-workers wasn't racist. Did you mean that she was? And she struggled hard with how exactly to answer before saying, next question, I don't know how to answer that. Trying super hard to think of the best way to answer, I don't know which coworker you're talking about, I've had so many. Then a little later on, she said, I would say that she would say she probably doesn't see race. I like the way that Riley answers without actually answering. It's impressive. And at number 2 is Naya Rivera. The late Naya Rivera, who played Santana Lopez on the show, was also rumored to have a feud with McHale, and was one of the first of the Glee cast to speak out regarding McHale's behind-the-scenes diva behavior. Naya reportedly stormed off the set after getting into a row with the show's producers over Leah's behavior. Leah reportedly made the rest of the cast wait to shoot a scene as she dealt with personal matters, which is pretty minor compared to McHale's other reported crimes, such as calling background actors cockroaches, or, racism. In Naya's book, Sorry Not Sorry, Dreams, Mistakes, and Growing Up, she addressed the tense relationship between the two actresses, saying that while she doesn't hate Leah, and never has, she does feel like Leah had trouble sharing the spotlight and would blame Naya for anything that went wrong. While Naya says the rumors surrounding the two are blown out of proportion, she also says that Leah did not talk to her for all of season 6. Naya was also accused of egging and keying fellow co-star and at the time boyfriend Mark Saling's car after finding out he went on a number of dates with other women. Now, in her book, she made sure to clarify that she didn't actually key his car, but she did cover it in dog food, eggs, and birdseed. And then there was also a lot going on with Naya's future on the show before season 6. It was later reported that she would appear in the 6th season, but in a reduced capacity. Naya also reportedly asked to be downgraded from a series regular to recurring guest star, so she clearly wasn't too happy. But in at number 1 is Darren Criss. He didn't talk so much about hating the entire show, but while appearing on the Lady Gang podcast in August 2021, Darren, who played Blaine, was asked about the worst cover that was performed on the former Fox musical comedy. His response went like this, quote, "Oof. That's too hard. There's too many versions of songs." After a brief debate, he and another co-star agreed on The Fox by Ylvis from the 7th episode of season 5, and he even stated that it was conventionally understood as a huge oops. He went on to say, quote, "It was so weird. It was one of these 15 minutes of fames for this song, and they just decided to put it into the show. I had fun because it was ridiculous. The more absurd it is, the funnier it is to me." So he obviously actually enjoyed how bad it was. I just wanted to end this on a little lighthearted hating for you guys after the whole McHale thing. Also, I really hated the cover of that song, so that's how we're ending this video today. But alas, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm Adam Andrews, this is Where Are They Now, and I'll catch y'all on the flippy flop.